They thought nothing could intimidate them, until the human made eye contact. In the dark silence of space, a powerful alien race called the Karneks ruled hundreds of planets. They were tall, cold, and proud. No species had ever dared to challenge them. The Karneks believed they were the strongest in the galaxy. They laughed at weaker races. They crushed rebels without mercy. They thought no one could scare them. No one, until they met the humans. But the Karneks didn't know about humans yet. Everything started when a small Karneks patrol ship disappeared near the outer edge of Sector 9. It was supposed to check a new planet, Earth, a simple mission. The crew never returned. At first, the Karneks didn't care. They sent another patrol. This one also vanished. Still, no big deal. They thought it must be a system error or space pirates. Then a third ship vanished. No signal. No escape pods. Nothing. Only silence. Now the High Council of Karneks started to worry. Something was wrong. Commander Varkos, a war hero with glowing red eyes and metal armor, was sent to investigate. He laughed when he heard about the missing ships. Probably weak crew. Or engine failure, he said. He didn't believe in fear. He took a full battle cruiser with him, 900 Karnek soldiers, powerful energy weapons, and flying drones. He was ready for war, even if he didn't expect one. As they arrived near Earth's orbit, everything seemed calm. Too calm. No signs of life on the planet, said the ship's AI. No enemy ships, said one of the officers. But then something strange happened. All their systems started to fail. Radar, comms, scanners. Darkness took over the ship. Alarms began to scream. "What is this?" shouted Varkos. Suddenly the screen lit up. A human face appeared, calm, cold, eyes like steel. No fear. "Turn back," the human said. The Karneks laughed. "Who are you to give orders to us?" But the human just stared. No words, just a cold stare. Varkos felt something, a feeling he didn't know. His hands shook a little. Was this fear? Then it began. A flash of light. A shockwave hit the cruiser. Systems exploded. The ship lost power. Drones dropped like dead birds. The Karneks screamed in panic. Something had attacked them, and they couldn't see it. Outside, human ships appeared. Small, fast, and deadly, like ghosts. "We are under attack," shouted the officer. "How?" There were no signs. They hid their tech. Perfectly. Varkos tried to fight back, but the human ships were too fast. One by one, the Karneks' defenses fell. And then, silence again. Only the human voice returned. "This is not your galaxy anymore." The screen went dark. Varkos sat in his chair, sweating. The great Karneks empire had just lost its first real battle. To a race they didn't even consider dangerous. To humans. End of part 1. Would you like me to continue with part 2? The human threat revealed, or a different title for the next chapter? You? Said part 2. ChatGPT said, "Great. Here's part 2 of your HFY Sci-Fi story, continuing from the suspenseful end of part 1. Title: The Human Threat Revealed, part 2 of 7 series. Title: They Thought Nothing Could Intimidate Them, Until the Human Made Eye Contact. The Karneks Empire was in shock. Commander Varkos returned with only half his cruiser working. His soldiers were silent, eyes full of fear. For the first time, they had met an enemy they could not understand. A weak species, they had thought. Soft, slow, stupid. But they were wrong. The High Council gathered inside the Black Tower on Karneks Prime. Their faces were hard. Their pride had been hit. Varkos stood before them, ashamed but angry. "This enemy? They are dangerous," he said. "Humans use weapons we cannot detect. Their ships appear and vanish. They fight with strategy and silence." The council leader, Grandmaster Zevik, narrowed his eyes. Are you saying they are stronger than us? Varkos hesitated. They fight smarter than us, and they do not fear us. Zevik slammed his fist on the table. Impossible. No one is stronger than the Karneks. But deep inside, even he felt uneasy. 3 lost patrols, a damaged cruiser, and a human who stared without blinking. Later that night, Varkos met with his old friend, a scientist named Dren. Dren had studied alien species for many years. I told them, Dren whispered. I warned them about the humans. Varkos frowned. What do you know? Dren showed him a file marked Classified Humans, Level Black. This was hidden from most of the Empire, Dren said. Humans were first seen 40 years ago by a secret Karnak scout. What happened to the scout? It was destroyed. No survivors, but the data was saved. The humans were already developing space tech. We watched from far away until they disappeared from our scanners. Disappeared? They covered their planet. They built something to block scans. It was like they vanished. For years we thought they gave up. But no, they were preparing. Varkos leaned in. Preparing for what? Dren looked at him with wide eyes. For us. Meanwhile, far from Karnak's prime, a secret human base floated in deep space. Captain Mara Chen walked across the command deck of the stealth cruiser Ghostlight. Her face was calm, but her mind was sharp. Around her were elite human soldiers, quiet, focused, deadly. They'll come back, she said. They always do. A soldier asked, why didn't we destroy them completely? We sent a message, Mara replied. Fear is stronger than fire. Now they know what we can do. On a large screen, a red dot blinked. It was the Karnak's homeworld. The next move will be theirs, she said. Let's see how brave they are. Back on Karnak's prime, Grandmaster Zevik finally made a decision. We will not be threatened by primitives, he said. We will crush this Earth. A massive invasion fleet was prepared. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. We will show the humans who truly rules the stars, Zevik said proudly. But Varkos had a strange feeling in his chest. It was not anger. It was not pride. It was fear. Because when he closed his eyes, he still saw that human face, that stare, and for the first time in Karnak's history, a warrior of their empire was afraid of a pair of human eyes. End of Part 2. Let me know when you're ready for Part 3, Shadows over Earth, or if you want to adjust anything. You said, Part 3 ChatGPT said, here is Part 3 of your HFY Sci-Fi story in simple third-person English. It continues the suspense and keeps the audience hooked for your YouTube channel. Title, Shadows over Earth. Part 3 of 7 series. Title, They Thought Nothing Could Intimidate Them. Until the human made eye contact. The stars looked calm above Earth, but something dark was coming. The Karnak's empire had launched a full fleet, huge warships black as night, moving like shadows in space. Inside each ship, thousands of soldiers waited. Their armor was sharp. Their orders were clear. Crush the humans, take the planet, leave no survivors. Commander Varkos led the fleet, but he was not calm. He kept remembering the humans' cold eyes, the silence, the fear. Still, orders were orders. As the Karnaks ships moved closer to Earth, something strange happened. The human planet looked peaceful. No warships, no defenses, only blue oceans, green land, and white clouds. Where is their fleet? One officer asked. Where are their guns? Said another. Varkos narrowed his eyes. This is wrong. Suddenly, a signal came through. A soft voice spoke. Welcome to Earth. Then silence again. And then, the attack began. Out of nowhere, hundreds of human stealth ships appeared. They were smaller than Karnak ships, but faster, smarter. They moved like ghosts. They cut through the Karnak's fleet with silent fire. Ships exploded, systems crashed, panic spread through the Karnak's ranks. They were hiding underground, shouted a Karnak soldier. Their ships came from inside the planet, Varkos growled. They wanted us to come, it's a trap. On the ground, human soldiers were already moving. They wore light armor. They used smart weapons. They worked in teams. Fast, silent, deadly. The Karnaks tried to land, but human forces were everywhere, waiting. Commander Mara Chen stood on a high cliff watching the battle. Her face showed no fear. They always think we're weak, she said, until it's too late. Her second-in-command, Elias, smiled. This is our planet. They don't belong here. Mara nodded. Let's remind them. Back in space, Varkos saw his ships fall one by one. He had never seen such tactics. The humans hit fast, then vanished. They jammed communications. They hacked Karnak systems. They made the sky a battlefield, and they were winning. Retreat? An officer asked. Varkos shook his head. No, we fight. But even he knew. They had made a mistake. They thought humans were simple, but humans were hunters. On Earth, one Karnak's landing team managed to reach a city. They expected chaos, screaming, civilians running. But the city was quiet. Too quiet. Where is everyone? Asked a Karnak soldier. Then a child stepped out of the shadows. A human child. She looked at them, unafraid. Just like before, those cold eyes. The Karnaks froze. Behind the child, hidden doors opened. Dozens of human soldiers came out. The Karnaks team had walked into another trap, and the last thing they saw was a human's eyes. The battle for Earth was over. The Karnaks fleet had failed. What was meant to be an easy win had turned into a nightmare. Their ships were destroyed. Their soldiers were hunted. Their pride broken. Only a few Karnak ships escaped. Commander Varkos was one of the few survivors. His ship was badly damaged. His eyes were empty. His armor was cracked. He had never lost a battle before. Now, he had lost everything. Back on Karnak's Prime, the High Council sat in silence. The news was hard to believe. Impossible, whispered one council member. They are just humans. No, said another. They are something else. Grand Master Zavik stood slowly. His voice was quiet but firm. We must not show fear, he said. We are the Karnaks. We rule the stars. But the fear was already there. It spread like a virus through the empire. Through soldiers, workers, even leaders. Everyone had heard the story. The humans fought without mercy. They used strange tactics they did not break. They stared into the eyes of death and did not blink. On a quiet moon near the Karnak's border, a group of alien traders spoke in hushed voices. They defeated the Karnaks? Yes, with less ships, less weapons. Impossible. But it happened. I heard they used AI to control the battlefield. And some say, humans can feel emotions the Karnaks don't understand. What do you mean? Things like anger, love, loyalty, rage. They fight not just with weapons, but with their hearts. Back in deep space, Commander Mara Chen stood in front of a large screen. She watched as the last Karnak ships disappeared into the stars. Elias stepped beside her. We won. They'll think twice before coming back. Mara shook her head. They'll come again. But next time, they'll be ready. Elias frowned. And what about us? Mara's voice was cold. We'll be ready too. Behind her, a new kind of human ship was being built. Sleek, silent, deadlier than before. On Karnak's Prime, Commander Varkos entered the war chamber. His face was hard. His fear had become anger. I want permission to strike back, he said. Not with soldiers, with something worse. The council leaned forward. What do you mean? I want to use the shadow bombs. There was silence. Everyone knew about the shadow bombs. Weapons never used before. Too dangerous. Too wild. Even for the Karnaks. You would destroy planets? One council member asked. Varkos nodded. Humans must learn what fear feels like. Grandmaster Zevik gave a slow smile. Do it. Far from both worlds, a strange signal echoed in space. A lonely satellite picked it up. It was human tech. It said only one thing: we see you. The Karnaks had tried to bring fear to Earth, but now, fear was coming for them. Commander Varkos stood in silence, staring at the empty space in front of him. The memory returned again and again, that human's eyes, cold, focused, not afraid. No Karnaks had ever looked into eyes like that. And once they did, something inside them broke. Now Varkos was ready to strike back. He had the shadow bombs, weapons so powerful they could erase entire cities. But something strange had started to happen across the Karnaks Empire. Soldiers were hesitating, some were refusing orders, some even whispered one word in fear: humans. On a small outpost near the edge of Karnak space, a group of new recruits were watching training videos. One of the screens showed the first Earth battle. Watch this part, said the trainer. This is where they attack without warning. A young soldier pointed to the screen. Look at her eyes. It was a human soldier, Captain Mara Chen. Calm face, sharp eyes, full of focus. She doesn't even blink, he whispered. The room fell quiet. The Karnaks were warriors. They were trained to be fearless. But now even their young felt the fear of humans. Meanwhile, in Earth's underground base, Captain Mara Chen met with Earth's leaders. We stopped them once, said one general. But they're preparing something bigger. Yes, Mara replied. We've seen the energy spikes. They're building something. Elias showed a screen. We believe it's a new weapon. Very large, very dangerous. Do we strike first? Asked the general. Mara shook her head. No, we wait. Let them show their true face. The room was quiet. Then Mara spoke again. But we need to prepare something else. What? A message. That same night, a new signal was sent across the galaxy. Strong, clear, impossible to block. Every Karnak screen lit up. Military bases, ships, homes, even the war chamber. It showed a single human soldier. It was her, Captain Mara Chen. She looked straight into the camera, calm, cold, eyes sharp like blades. You came to our world, she said. You brought fear, fire, death. But we are still here. We are not afraid. Then her voice dropped to a whisper. You should be. The screen went black. And just like that, the Karnak's empire began to change. On Karnak's Prime, Varkos stared at the blank screen. His hands were shaking, not with rage, but with fear. They should not have this power, he whispered. Behind him, the War Council argued. Some wanted peace, some wanted full war. The empire was breaking from the inside, all because of one human's face, one look, one pair of fearless eyes. In the darkness of space, Earth's stealth fleet moved slowly, quiet, watching. Captain Mara Chen stood on the command deck. They're scared, Elias said. She nodded. Then let's show them what fear really feels like. The stars were quiet, too quiet. Commander Varkos sat in the warship Bloodfang, staring at the shadow bomb controls. His officers stood around him, waiting for the order. Target. Earth, said the weapons tech. Ready to launch. Varkos didn't speak. His heart was heavy, his hands cold. He remembered the human face again. That stare, that silence. It haunted his dreams. Still, his pride pushed him forward. If we strike now, he said, they will never rise again. But before he could give the command, Earth struck first. A bright flash tore through space. From behind Saturn, hidden in its rings, came Earth's newest weapon, the Nightburn. It wasn't big, it wasn't flashy, but it was deadly. Its job was simple: hunt the hunter. One by one, Earth's stealth ships disabled Karnak's warships without a sound. No warning, no mercy. Inside the Bloodfang, alarm screamed, "We're under attack." Where? They're everywhere. They're inside the fleet. What? Human infiltration pods, Tiny black capsules had attached themselves to the Karnex ships. Inside them were elite human soldiers, silent and fast. They moved through the halls like shadows, cutting down Karnex crews before alarms even finished sounding. In the control room of the Ghostlight, Captain Mara Chen stood tall. "We gave them a chance," she said. "Now they'll see what we really are." Her second-in-command, Elias, smiled grimly. "No more messages?" Mara shook her head. "Only fire." Back on the Bloodfang, Varkos watched in horror as one of his largest ships exploded outside the window. The shadow bombs were still armed, but the launch systems were destroyed. "Retreat?" his officer shouted. Varkos didn't answer. He knew. It was too late. "They planned everything," he whispered. "Every step. His pride, his empire, his belief in Karnek's power, all burned in the void. And once again, he saw her. The same human soldier, the same cold stare. No fear. Far across space, other alien empires were watching. They had once feared the Karneks. Now they whispered another name. "Humans. Did you hear?" one trader said on a moon station. "They took down the Karnex fleet. With only a fraction of their power," another replied. "What are they?" The answer came softly. "They are the fire in the dark." On Earth, Mara stood alone, watching the stars. Elias walked up. "They'll fall back now." "Yes," she said. "But it's not over, is it?" Mara shook her head. "Not yet." And deep in the shadows of space, one last Karnex fleet prepared to launch. But this time, their mission was not war. It was survival. Because even they now believed the humans were not just dangerous. They were unstoppable. The stars were silent. Again, the war was almost over. The Karnex Empire was broken. Their fleets were shattered. Their worlds were burning. But one last force remained. The final Karnex dreadnought, Oblivion Claw, floated near a dying red star. Inside, Grandmaster Zevik sat on a high throne. His face was thin, his eyes full of rage. "We will not beg," he said. Commander Varkos stood below him, bruised and tired. "We must survive," Varkos said. "We cannot win. Not like this." "They are only humans," Zevik shouted. Varkos looked away. "Then why do they win?" In the darkness beyond, Earth's fleet waited. Captain Mara Chen stood in her warship Ghostlight, eyes fixed on the red star. "This is the end," Elias said beside her. Mara nodded. "They won't surrender." "So we fight?" "No," she said. "We show them something more powerful than fear." The humans sent no ships, no bombs, no threats. They sent a signal, simple, quiet. It said, "You lost, but you don't have to die. Talk to us." Inside the Oblivion Claw, the message echoed. Zevik smashed the screen. A trick, but others listened. Soldiers, engineers, even commanders, and for the first time in Karnex history, they refused to obey. Varkos turned to Zevik. "You ruled by fear. They fight with honor." "You're betraying me?" Zevik hissed. "No," Varkos said. "I'm saving what's left." He walked to the comms and sent a message. Back on Earth, the reply came, a single Karnex voice. "I am Commander Varkos. We surrender." The war ended not with a final shot, but with silence. Months passed. The Karnex were no longer conquerors. Their cities were rebuilt, with help from humans. A peace treaty was signed. Slowly, carefully, trust began to grow. But one thing never changed: the story of the human stare. On distant worlds, alien children heard tales of Earth, of cold eyes, of quiet courage. They asked their parents, "Is it true? Did humans never fear the Karnex?" And the answer was always the same: no. They looked into the face of death, and it was the Karnex who blinked.